Well, hello. I am, well, not really. I thought I was going to be early. Almost put the palette down upside down. Okay, for everybody tuning in on the replay, this is a live working session in the studio. So it will be slow at times and maybe quiet. So you are free to work on something else or come and go as you please. I was not going to do this again after, I think it was affecting my painting too. But then I checked and there were so many people that watched it. I thought, well, I'll go ahead and do it another day. So there you have it. Start today the same as I did yesterday. Uh-oh, this was a stencil package. I saved these and put hooks at the top of them, put stencils in, and they hang right here to my right. I'm doing the same thing I did yesterday. Joycey. Sweetheart, don't feel like you've got to stay here unless you want to, because there probably won't be that many folks. But you know you're welcome. I'm glad you're here. Please have something to work on. Because this gets boring day after day. I almost didn't do it today. Because it's a little bit boring, I know. What? Don't tell me I've done it again. Yep. But if that's the case, then why? Good. I'm doing the same thing. I always start each day reviewing what was done. It's a pain in the butt, but it has to be done. I enjoyed Kathy Arbor's drawing lesson today. You did it. You were there, weren't you? Okay. Is that going to hold? I made noises about working on my America book today. What's interval training? Okay, now we're not going to do this again today, so just slow your ass down. Yeah, I didn't even see the typo. Once the drawing is correct, Then you can start having some fun. Is it helping you? I hope. Not enough time in every day for me to do everything I want to do. There, that's the one I want. Right there. Mimic hog. Let's try that one too. That's Jerry's Artorama. I always like to mix with my palette knife. Make quick work of that. Mixing up my strings. Hi, Wendy. Okay, I'm going to show you my mixing palette so far. This is my warm string of color, and this is my cool. Faces don't have all one color all over. It has 40, 50. We've got a little bit of a lag today. for example, on this side of her face, move it up. On this side of her face, you'll have a cool color and a little warmer color closer to where the sun is. And that can be on the same face. It's a little darker than that, but you get the idea. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix up some black. And I want a little bit of blue out. Sometimes I like a little purple cast. Okay, we are ready to go. Okay, I'm going to go with this. After I roll the, I'm going to get my brush wet to begin with. And then dry it off pretty good. Okay, 1, 2, 3, here we go. Now while I've got that color going, I'm going to go ahead and a little less in here. Should be over here, but that's okay. If you could envision a ball with the light, let's see if it shows. With the light hitting, I've got 2 lights, so it's hard. Okay. Now the light's hitting right here, okay? It's shaded over here. That helps make that look like a 3-dimensional form. So if you accept that theory, then everything here closer to the light will be in sunlight. Everything over here will be in shadow. Sunlight or shadow. Sunlight is warmer, shadow is cooler. So every time you have a shape, now Kathy was touching on that a little bit today. Every time you have a shape, it is rounded. So for example, On the nose, it's rounded. The moose is oval. You can see where the lines will shadow that way. The eyes are a circle. The cheekbones are a circle. And the forehead is kind of a oval, about like that. And then in here you have another little circle area, oval area, where the light hits. So everywhere the light hits is warm, and everywhere it recedes away from the light, it's cool. Any questions? Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I'm so glad y'all enjoy this. Now this whole area back here is also, and I'm painting in shapes, kind of. We've got all of that. Okay, and then I'm going to stick with the cooler red. On the cooler side of the big oval, which is the face. So you've got the face as a big oval, you've got sunlight, you've got shadow. So for that big shape, I'm going to stick with the cooler red. I'm just adding a little bit of the red to that tone color. And I'm not worrying about this right here because the hair will cover that, or I can scrape it down. What I'm interested in are the main features. The rest of all this can be edited up until the last minute. This type of painting, I might have 6 or 7. One of my, well, this is the beginning of one of my really smooth paintings. The light's really bouncing off of it. So this would have, every time I come in to paint on this, if I were working on it, I would take a little linseed oil and I would sand the whole surface and get rid of any texture marks that I didn't want. And then I would come back in and paint another layer on top of it. But to do this kind of a real smooth skin, I might have 10 layers on parts of it. That's back when I had red hair. And I'm looking at the real picture as opposed to what y'all are seeing, and it's not nearly as orange. So that's the light. The light on the left is a little yellower than the light up here. If I hold it up here, I don't think you can see it. So it's the same process I use. Now, if I'm going to do, I did this in class one day in 2 hours. So if I'm going to do something like that with one, maybe 2 layers, I mean, of course, obviously, I smeared the black at some point. That could use one more session and be done. So it just depends on where you are. I mean, what style you want. I dearly love to work on the smooth face one. Um, this one will end up being fairly smooth. Remember the other day when I was telling you the original photo didn't have the Rembrandt triangle? That's what this is right here. So let's come in with that and that. And this is a little bit harder with the big brush. Okay, now I'm going to go back to a little smaller one. This is the Mimic Hog Filbert by Jerry's Artorama Creative Mark. They haven't come up yet with a synthetic hog bristle that I like, because hog bristles have to be very stiff because you're digging into paint and bringing it to the canvas. I'm just using it to blend out a little bit, which is like everything else. That will happen right up until the last layer. By mixing red and green, of course, I'm getting a toned down red. Now nope, I thought we were picking up another light. We're picking up a light right here, and that's not light enough. I thought that was a shadow mark, but I mean a light mark, but working with a bigger brush is easier in a lot of regards. See how far back I'm holding my brush? And a lot of people paint with it back here. The balance for me right here in the middle, it's about balanced right here. That right there, it's balanced. That seems to be a comfort spot for me. Okay, good fooling around. Now let's move over to the oranger side, the warmer color. Yeah, over here. Forgot to look. Okay, y'all aren't talking much, so that's good, I guess. The real chunky white strokes will be some of the last ones you put on. I really almost didn't do this today with you guys. All the fumbling I was doing was bothering me. I'm gonna go back to one of my little brushes. I'm gonna thin this down just a little bit. Not much, just a little. And I'm gonna restate my eyes. I don't paint eyelashes. Just paint a thicker line. You put it on, you take it off. That's how you get real thin lines. If you can't get a real thin line that way, then you put your darker color on and you cut back into it with a light, with your flesh tone. And that's a grade line, because after your eyelashes, you have a little bit of skin that shows right there between the lashes and the eye. Put my little red dot in just because I like knowing it's there. This is one of the tools that I talked to you about. I think my stuff. Okay, that didn't work. My plastic moved. See if that holds. Okay, we're pretty good. The other tool that I do when I can't find a piece of plastic is I have a piece of lucite that I can just pop on there and check. Like that. The thinner plastic is a little more the thinner plastic is a little more accurate, because when you lean up close to this, you've got 1/8 of an inch there that kind of wiggles back and forth. But I use them both. And let me give you a hint. Even the professional, well, I'm professional, but I mean, even the $13,000, $14,000 painters use every trick in the book to get their drawing right. When you're doing commissions, now it's not important. My iPad cord keeps getting in my way. You don't want perfect lines. You want to break it up from here and there. It's a little too too. Now that eye is, I keep trying to make it more wide awake than it really is. More like that. And I think I've got a little. Third time's a charm. Teeny little details can make or break it. Just a little bit of a stroke. Do. I think I'm the only one. That's okay. Ah, crap. Okay, YouTube lost the feed. Thought I was painting all by myself. If y'all can still hear me, I'm trying to get it back. YouTube dumped the feed. Hey, good. Yeah, I didn't know when it went down, but somehow or another, either my internet connection screwed up or YouTube screwed up. Hey, Kathy, I enjoyed your drawing lesson today. Okay, I see how many layers. Kathy, Windy, Kitty, hi again. Ah, damn it. Just get into it good, and boy, the light sure does wash it out. I'm just painting along, having a good old time. I told everybody earlier that I almost didn't do this today because I felt like I was not doing my best job. I'm not sure that helped. I kind of wanted to see the way the shadow went. Well, that's different. So you're going to have to measure from here. This is back to my old photo, but I just needed to see these lines. Little laugh lines. Hey, Lynn, you got off work early. Yeah, that's the thing about it. StreamYard holds on to the stream so you don't have to start over. Told Lynn that I wasn't going to do this again, and here I am. Hey, Gio, I don't think I said hello to you. Little laugh lines aren't wrinkles. These will get restated all along too, so. Ah. Just goes kind of like that. Y'all weren't here earlier. I don't pay any attention to this outer area until I get ready to do the hair. In fact, I want to keep that area fairly soft. got this itty bitty brush back in my hand. Cheap brush, dropped a hair. Alrighty. Well, I'm glad you don't have to bug me for process pics. The paint moves so easy. It's just like butter, melted butter. Well, maybe almost melted butter. I need some dark. And you don't have to remember, you don't have to do this unless you're doing a commission. Put it on, take it off. YouTube's been giving everybody. Thank you, Lynn. YouTube's been giving everybody fits today. Real close. Yeah, there were several that had to go out and start over. Kathy Arbor was stopped a couple of times, I think. If you're oil painting and find an area that won't take any more paint, you either have to let it dry or you scrape it off and go over. Oh, I think I need to take a little smoke break. I love doing this. In oil, oh golly, 3 years maybe. And the amount of time I got behind 3 baby pictures. But they say you never lose it, so I sure had fun in mixed media. And I focused a whole lot on watercolor. I think that shift happened when I had my big bout with the poop bag. Um, because watercolor was easier to do. I am just glad to be here. Thank you. Chop chop. Ah. Well, my problem is that I could never stick to just one thing as bad as I wanted to. There was always another siren song calling my name. And I told my tutors, how can I stick with one thing when there are so many to choose from? And I don't know if I might like them better. So that led me to uh, watercolor and then painting with acrylics that looked like watercolor. And I decided that was not my cup of tea. And then soft pastel, I did that for the longest time. And I still do it. I still have some people I follow who do that. I like soft pastel too. And I've got a box of chalk sitting here that I need to prove to somebody I can paint with. I wonder who that might be. Somebody that's got a snarky sense of humor. As I always portrayed myself as being the art snot. So what does the art snot get for a gag gift? A set of sidewalk chalks to paint with. And then Linda went MIA. Let me off the hook. one now. Well, nose is looking better than it did the other day, that's for sure. Susan, you're not going to get along fine. Well, it's an issue that comes up because we both, Lindsay and I, have viewers in both camps, and you just have to take what you can and leave the rest. Because painters want to know different things. Uh-oh. My computer just went down. Whew, I'm back up. Duh. I forgot to plug my computer in, guys. You may have to refresh. There, I'm back on YouTube. I can see it. Yep. Thanks, I'm back. Dummy here. It's hard to be computer geek and creative all at the same time. You know what I mean? Now it's just painting along here, just as happy as could be. I don't want that one. Ooh, don't want that. And her downy thing is right there. I apologize, guys. Nope. Okay, so that. Okay. Beth and Colleen are going to do the America book tonight on the moon shot, the photograph of the moon. And then now I need just a little bit. She just almost doesn't have one of those little Cupid bows. And that's too much. It's closer. Do. 18th. We're getting there. Okay, one more time ought to get that. This won't be the last time you'll see these teeth. I'm still still fighting that, getting that area here for the teeth big enough. Diddle like this for a long time. And then look up and see that 3 hours has gone by. Especially if I have on some music that I really enjoy. Bucky Beaver. There's something wrong, but it will show itself. Be fine if it wasn't a comedian. Look at me painting with this little bitty brush again. Appreciate all y'all coming to watch. It's not very entertaining. Okay. Now then, moving forward. These brushes are pretty good for smooth strokes. Now that reads a little bit better. I bet y'all have an appreciation when you go to a museum now. Okay, I'm going to move on from that. I do want a little more cherry red in here, though. Yeah, leave it, leave it. Now, let's go into something more fun. Here's one of those balls that Kathy talked about today. This area right here is an oval. And then within that, it's got other ovals. Woohoo. on there. I said I was going to leave it alone. Leave it alone. Maybe just one more. It's getting there, guys. Step away from the mouth. Thank you. Yeah, it is. One little mark. See, right here, while I was fiddling around, I finally got that little upward curve right there that's part of her expression. It's coming along, though, right there. All right, now. Let's say it takes two people to paint. One to do the painting and another one to tell them to quit. And that's what Lynn Wessel just did for me. But Lynn knows the rules of workshops or demos when somebody is painting. Isn't that right, Lynn? I don't know if you've taken from any real bears or not, but They can be. Albert Handel is one of the worst. He's been known to take somebody's paintings and throw it across the room. I had my very first workshop I went to. The guy took my painting and slung it sideways across the room and said, "You don't paint vertical landscapes." That alone could have been enough to make me quit. And since then, I've made it my goal to paint more vertical landscapes. His name was Tony Couch. He's still doing the workshop circuit. I kid you not. The men are usually the worst about that. And this is something that in many cases you've paid $400 or $500 for. Yeah, you would have. Um, One of my tutors was known for bellowing. His name was DeMille, and he was related to the DeMille clan. He didn't ever bellow at me because I knew not to argue with him. I just say yes, sir, and go on. But I sponsored a workshop here in Northwest Arkansas that he came to. He judged a show and gave a 3-day workshop. May have been 4 days, I don't know. And his supply list very clearly stated no student grade paints. And one of the guys showed up with Winton. And Les stopped by his workstation and tried to mix a color to show him off just a hair, but we're going to leave that for now. Step away from the nose. Anyway, the guy's palette was a wreck. I mean, it hadn't been cleaned off in ages, and it wasn't pretty mixtures. It was just dirty. And Les said, "Where's your paint?" He pulled it out. Les said, "You'll never get that color with Winton." It was a Winton yellow ochre. So he was not too pleased. Les or the guy. Les never went back to his station. So if you're ever in a position to take a workshop from a professional, follow the rules. Because there's a reason you wanted to take that workshop in the first place. And it should be to learn his technique and how he gets the results he or she does. It's not for you to go to show him how much you know. There was another elderly guy who fancied himself a professional artist who took this class, and he was intent on proving to Les that they had met before, because what he was trying to do is establish that he too was a star. And I laughed. Les said, "No, I don't remember you," and just kept right on walking. Now, you can be like that only if you have paid your dues to get yourself to that level. Because some students are so hard-headed, it really does make you wonder why they're taking the class, because it's serious business for someone like me. And I'm there to learn everything I can learn. And you got some jackass taking up the teacher's time trying to be important. And Les would teach something. I mean, his method is different. You know, why did you take the class if you didn't want to do different? And he called Les over to his workstation. That's too low. Step away from the nose. And Les showed him what he meant. You know, how he meant for it to go down. And Jack said, "I'll do it. I like my way. This is how I do it," and proceeded to show the instructor how to do it his way. Les never went back to his station either. Stories from the crypt. I've got to fix that right here. I could tell some stories. I went to France one time to learn from this same teacher who was also an excellent pastel artist. And not, I was just there with the supplies that I was told to bring. And I looked over, and several people were painting with these colored boards. And I thought, uh-oh, I missed something. Well, they ignored the instructions and brought what they're used to working with. So therefore, they were setting themselves up to fail because they couldn't mimic what he was doing. So that's not why you pay, in that case, $5,000 to go show the teacher what you know how to do. Step away from the mouth. I'm just going to put just one more thing, Linda. Got to bring that out a little bit. All right, let's do some. Just using what's on the palette. Come on now. I don't ever paint hairs. Remember what Kathy Arbor said today? You paint shapes. Dirty paintbrush. Come on, you know better than that. What y'all doing? That's how it happens, guys. You've seen me just work all over this today. Again, the beauty of oil. And then tomorrow I would come back, or will come back, and do the same things all over again. I'll start at the beginning and rework. Had a clump there. Okay, now chestnutty brown. Brown, brown, brown. This is a greenish color, chosen on purpose. Don't want green. Let me try white. There we go. I'll have to come back to that because it's I'm showing off a little bit. Ah, damn it. Get a clean finger. We'll be back to that anyway. So there. Check my finger now before I do that. Gosh, it feels good to be doing this again. Oh, thank you, Joycey. I am having so much fun. A lot of this will be edited after this is a little dry. Especially that area right there, right in here. It may take 2 or 3 sessions just on the hairline. Getting the skin tone to fit in. Let's get some of this. Now I'm just using the colors that I used on the face. I haven't added any more color than what I started out with. A limited palette is So nice to work with. Okay, I'm going to leave that. Okay. I think I'm about done for the day. Good Lord. I started at 3. Can y'all tell? Can y'all tell that how much I enjoy this? I can paint for about 4 or 5 hours straight in oil and never miss a minute. Oh, Lynn, I'll show you again because I'm about ready to. Here's where I've been mixing. I'll get off of there for a minute. Anyway, here's my mixing area. And you can still tell the original colors. And then this is where I mix them down and, you know. Okay, here's the palette. This is a half and half mixture of ultramarine and alizarin crimson. It's a dark purple. I can make it redder or bluer by just adding a little bit more of the others. This is ultramarine blue straight. This is cobalt blue. This is manganese and coal. It's called mangancolin. That's the European name. It's manganese and cerulean blue mixture, and that's an admixture. That's what you call it when they're mixed in the factory. It's a real pretty warm color. This is alizarin crimson. This is cadmium orange. This is cad red, cad yellow, cad lemon. This is for portraits only. It's cadmium green light, I believe. These are convenience colors. They will warm or cool any of these. This is Blue Violet by Gamblin, and that is Radiant Violet. This is Blue Gray, and that's Radiant Violet. This is by Holbein, and then a whole buttload of white. So basically, I've got a few extras because I'm familiar with this color palette. That's an extra, but here's a warm and a cool, or warm and a cool blue, warm and a cool red, warm and cool yellow, and white. And you can mix your earth tones. See how pretty some of those are? I don't have a burnt sienna or a yellow ochre anywhere on my palette. I don't know what that is. Big old booger. And here's the color chart that I make when I want to play with a new palette of colors. And again, it's the mud, the 2 blues, the 2 reds, the orange, 2 yellows. You don't have to have the orange because you can mix it with one of the yellows and the cad red light. But the fun part is when you start mixing those colors together. I'm sorry, I was holding it down too far. Up too far. Those are pure out of the tube mixed with white as you go down to the 5th row. This is primarily the mud color. So it is duplicated on the column 1, just straight out of the tube with white. The next one is ultramarine blue mixed with mud, and mud is dominant. So there's more of it than the ultramarine, more of it than the phthalo blue, which I didn't put out, more of the mud than the alizarin crimson, and on down the line. So see there, your browns. And then you go to the next page and it's ultramarine up. It's the next color on the palette. And you mix mostly ultramarine with every other color. Look at those beautiful soft greens that you get. You're not seeing them good, but neat, neat. Hold it up a little bit more. And this is the phthalo blue. I was originally trained not to use phthalo blue in anything because it's so powerful and it's so synthetic. But this particular palette used it. But look at some of those rich teals over here. And there's not a teal on my palette of squeeze colors. And here we go into the reds. This is the alizarin crimson, and it's mixed with every color, mostly alizarin crimson. This is cad red light, again, mixed with every color, with cad red light being dominant. And here's cad orange, and you get a real pretty raw umber color. And the beauty of mixing your earth tones is that you can make it a little more orange if you want to, or not mix it real good so that you can see some orange what you use to mix it. And that's the beauty of mixing some of those colors instead of just reaching for a tube. Because if you have 50 tubes, you'll never be able to find them. And here is cad yellow medium, pretty greens again. Now you may notice, okay, cad yellow medium is dominant on this page. It's the same basic mixture as this one, alizarin crimson with cad yellow medium dominant. Cad deep right here. This is really interesting. Come on. This is the same. These are the same two colors. No, that's cad red. What are you doing? I want alizarin in this one. Okay, now we're cooking. Cad yellow medium and alizarin crimson. This is the alizarin crimson page and it's dominant. This is the cad yellow medium page and it's dominant. So those are made, I mean, those are just two pigments. You cannot get mud with this palette unless you throw in a third color or a tube of paint that has a warm or a cool that clashes with these. So anyway, I think that's cool. And I use this when let's go ahead and finish. I showed you cad red medium. There's just one more. And this is Hansa or lemon. And again, you've got a beautiful umber color. And you don't know this unless you mix stuff. And by mixing them yourself, familiar with them in a way that if you just take a picture of this, you miss out on the whole experience of it. My very first palette had 16 colors on it. And I made one for those. And it's out about like that. I'll show you one of them. Nope, that's not it. There. Wait until you see it. Yes, you can, Susan. And the other thing about it is, with 6 tubes of paint, you can go ahead and afford to buy the set that I started my students on in my class that I teach, is the Williamsburg Essentials. I think it's Essentials, but it's got 2 reds, 2 yellows, 2 blues, and it does have a raw sienna and a raw umber, which I've never used before. But man, did we get some pretty colors using those 2. But I wouldn't have known that had I not experimented. I think that those 8 colors, and it has a large tube of white, I want to say they're $38. And I did the whole class, and I still have half tube paint left. So it's very good value. There's no need to think that you've got to go out and buy 50 tubes to be able to do it. You see proof right here. And this is mostly skin tones. If I were painting landscapes, I love that 16 color palette. But if I were painting every day, I would. Nodding, nodding, nodding. Yeah, and there are people who go, well, one of my tutors one time said, can I have your color charts? I said, no. It took me a week to make those. You can't have them. Make your own. Well, they sure are usable. Well, he was the bird that said, well, that painting that you're working on has a tube of turquoise in it, and you'll never get that without turquoise out of a tube. And by the time he rustled around and found that tube of paint, I had mixed it. And he was just flabbergasted, because whatever I have on my palette, doesn't matter if I'm going to a class or going to paint plein air, I'll carry this set with me. And so if I need a particular color, I'll look in here to see if I have it before I dig around for a special color. And I do carry a few special colors with me. I mean, some of these, turquoise would be hard to get, but on the on the 16 color palette, look at those turquoises. Get it down. Are those not beautiful? And I can look at this chart and know instantly which one's dominant, because it's here, always on every page, and then mix it with the other color that's already on your palette, and you're done. You're ready to go. If you're doing a still life and you want to measure or check to see what green, well, there you have it. So it's Viridian and Cad Yellow Deep, mostly Viridian. Yeah. Oh yeah, heck, definitely. Look at these blues. Now this is the 16 color palette. Look at these colors. Turquoise, you want turquoise right there. Takes me about 2 minutes. Or if your still life is let me find something. Where's something when you need it? You want to know what color that is? Let's pick up our anywhere maybe in between this, the alizarin crimson and the cad red light, something in between there might work. And those are main colors. Those aren't mixed. Let's go through and see if there's something that's a little bit closer. And then when you have your 2 colors mixed, then you can alter them a little bit by just adding. See, these aren't bright enough. See, the first 2 are probably best. And sometimes in between, just mix up a little of each and then blend them to, pull from each color. It's not pink enough, it's orange. But if you were doing a still life and you needed to match grandmother's favorite vase, that's how you would do it. And then what happens is, okay, let's just say that we pick this page and we pick somewhere in between these two for our, it wasn't that one though, it was the main sheet. Somewhere in here for your color, maybe in there. Well, then what happens is you can use this whole page, or you'll find a leaf. Let's say it's a floral, and you'll find a green that you want. Well, where's the green page? And this just happens almost every time I do this. There's no greens. There's some. A few. I mean, this is a limited palette, but just say this. So if you pull, guess what? You like this green? That's the Cad Yellow medium page that you pulled your favorite colors from for the pink. So that, and if you're going to use one of the Cad reds or one of the reds, you'll find that a painting will tend to use from two different pages of your color chart, which means that's even less you have to deal with. So you mix up those colors that you want to use, and then everything will have, well, I missed the part on her hair pretty good. Everything on your painting will relate to each other because they use the same colors. You don't have, let's say you don't pull a palette by colors you want. Like, in other words, you don't pull a turquoise and then pull a tube of green and then pull another tube of yellow and maybe a raw sienna. You're going to have a mess because those colors don't play nicely together. These play nice because of the warm and cool. Color temperature is one of the hardest things to learn. And I'm not going to claim to be an expert at anything. There's still too much to learn. Even if I were Leonardo, he was still going to bed every night wishing he had more time to paint, to get better. You don't ever get the best. You get better and better and better the more you paint. So, yes. Now I could keep working on this for another couple hours, and that paint is going to be just as movable and buttery as it is now. Or I can wait until tomorrow. Now, if tomorrow it's sticky tacky, I won't be able to work on it anymore. I can move over and work on him. So once it starts getting sticky tacky, as you get deeper layers, then you have to quit until it dries all the way. I still don't have her head tilted as much as it, well, nope, I don't. I've got it more like that. It's not off much, and it doesn't matter. It's just something that you get aware of. All right, guys, thanks for coming in and sticking with me. You made me feel like it was worth me doing it. No, well, I did have you. We're getting there. Nah. Yeah, and it's the same for watercolor, acrylic, or whatever. When you bounce around with colors without knowing what your palette is, you're in for trouble. Now, her face looks a lot fatter here, wider than here, but I've still got some stuff to do over here on this edge. But the other thing is this is bigger because it's closer to the camera than that one. Let's pull this down and see. That didn't do a bit of good the way I put that on there. And there's so much paint on the back of it right now. You can't really tell. All right, let's get, this one's a little bit cleaner. Pretty darn close. You can see little things like an eyebrow maybe. But at this point, once I consistently keep it in drawing, then my problem with it will be temperature and values, dark and light values, to make one area come out and one area recede. And that comes later on in the process. Yeah, well, he's Ken, so he's not cute at all. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. And I'm going to keep coming on until I get this thing cracked. To the best of my ability, anyway. Okie dokie. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye. And I'll remember to plug in my laptop next time. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. Makes my ego feel good to have active participants.